Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, we're going to take a look at the Soulforge and tell you what is going on in there today. Also going to take a look at this weekly glory troop, the Lost Warrior. Let's see why it's lost. Draxum Ultra Rare. Inflict terror on one random enemy for each red ally and gain 10 souls. Right, so you need a full team of red to make the most of that. But if you do, then you're going to inflict terror on 4 random enemies in an all-red team, which basically means at least one of them is going to be at the bottom, which means you've basically got a chance for anybody to effectively run off or be removed from the enemy team straight away. So not bad, but it does require an all-red team to make the most of it. Let's take a look at the traits. Allied dwarves gain 2 armor, has fortitude and a fire link. That's quite a nice fire link, as well as fortitude of course, but quite situational because it needs to be in an all-red team. Obviously they need to be not immune to terror to make the most of that at the same time and stuff like that. Yeah, but semi-usable and actually could be quite fun in certain teams. So I'm going to give it a fairly solid but average 5 out of 10. Get it anyway, only cost you a little bit of glory. Anyway, I heard about a guy who could throw a stick so far it took his dog an hour to bring it back. Sounds really far-fetched. Yes. That one was sent to me by KK Canada last week, so I thought I'd chuck it in there in case anybody missed it. I liked it. Alright, anyway, let's jump in the Soul of the Forge. See what's going on in there today. Hope everyone had a good Vault weekend. Got loads of good stuff when you open up your keys later on. Let's take a look at the weapons first. Not going to go over all the ones that are here all the time, like the Eye of Zaphanos, Shattered Blade, Broken Guard, etc. They'll be in my Soulforge extra video, which I'll leave in a link in the description if you want to check those out. But first up we have Fire and Ice. Does magic-based damage to all enemies and gives 2 life to all allies. So damage to all is good. Life is semi-insignificant amount. I'd like it if it is a bit more than that, but hey, it's an okay damage to all weapon. Not too bad. Next up we have Doomed Blade. One of the good doomed weapons. This one, I do like these ones. Doing damage to all enemies with a +1 per tempering level boost. Then transform red gems to doom skulls. If the enemy has a doom, create 5 more and gain 3 mana for each blue enemy. The cool thing about these weapons is they're kind of good enough just on that first bit, doing that damage to all enemies with that boost and then transforming red gems to doom skulls. So if you look at the board and you can see you're going to get a 4 match out of that transform red to doom skulls, then you're going to get an extra turn as well, which is really cool. But the other things there, if they come into play, if the enemy has a doom, create 5 more, then gain 3 mana for each blue enemy. So against the blue team, very strong indeed. But yeah, do absolutely love them kind of weapons. Very nice indeed. Stone Slicer. Does damage to an enemy boosted by construct allies, then create a mix of 6 purple and brown gems for each construct ally. So uses blue and purple, actually creates a purple and brown. Now, normally these weapons, they don't generate the same colour as what it uses. They're kind of opposite. But this is one of the rare ones which actually is actually not true for that. It actually creates purple and brown, so it can actually self-charge, which is pretty interesting. So I do like that weapon for that fact alone. Very nice indeed. Next we have Korag's Invention. Doing damage to an enemy boosted by Draxum allies, then create a mix of 6 blue and brown gems for each Draxum ally. This is the way it usually goes. Uses red and yellow but creates blue and brown. So you need to make sure those other allies actually use blue and brown mana to make the most of that mana generation. But yeah, that one's different for that. That's very cool. I like that one a lot. Axe of Draxum. Kind of the anti-Draxum weapon. Remove all brown gems, then deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by gems removed. If the enemy is from Draxum, or if the battle is in Draxum, deal double damage. So situational for that kind of reason, but yeah. Okay. Not spectacular, but it's one of the cheap ones. I always recommend picking up these cheap weapons. Just a mere 75 diamonds to craft. The good thing about doing that is your kingdom is eventually going to reach a point in the game where you need a certain amount of weapons from certain kingdoms maxed out to progress your kingdoms. And that's where these cheap weapons absolutely come in handy. Keg's Crusher. Does magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by dwarf allies. Then create a mix of blue and brown gems for each dwarf ally. So yep, again this one uses blue and brown but uses green and purple to get charged and makes that nice mix of 6 blue and brown gems for every dwarf. So you need a full array of dwarves in your team to make sure you get the most out of that. Duskbringer, we'll come to that in a minute because it is important. Ankh of Nefertari is here. Absolutely essential to craft this today. If you're in this game for the long haul, then make sure you craft this today. Absolutely essential. Gives magic +1 life to an ally boosted by brown gems. Then give them a quarter of their mana. Now you're not getting this because it's basically an amazing weapon. It's just alright. You're getting it because it's part of the recipe of Duskbringer. Duskbringer requires 3 different weapons to get it crafted, as well as these other little bits and bobs. But Ankh of Nefertari is one of them. So if you don't get this today, you're going to have to wait an awful long time before it comes around again. And you may be sitting there with all those souls, those resources, waiting to craft Duskbringer, and you can't do it because you didn't pick up this weapon today. So make sure you pick up Ankh of Nefertari today. Wonder Stars is here all the time, but it's not in my Soulforge extra video at the moment because it came along after I made that video. But again, if you've got enough stuff, craft Wonder Stars. Absolutely essential weapon, the best weapon in the game. Create 6 elemental stars, bless all allies, or create 7 umbral stars and curse all enemies. Absolutely fantastic stuff. The best weapon in the game. You need to get it if you have the resources. Fantastic stuff. Ooh, what's next? Something else? Glowing Core. Really good weapon this. Do like these explodey summony weapons. Explodes magic +1 brown gems. Grant a random status effect to all construct allies. Then summon a construct troop. Really nice. Mana Gen. Status effects. Summon. Lovely jubbly. Doomed Heirloom. Give 2 magic to all allies. +1 per tempering level. So weak at the untempered stage. Pretty strong at the tempered stage. Then give magic +2 armor to blue allies. If the enemy has a doom, gain 10 attack. So that's actually pretty good. Giving armor to blue allies in an all blue team would be pretty strong. And then that nice magic boost as well could be really effective in certain teams. So not too bad at all. And what else do we have? We have the Doomed Impaler. Good weapon. Does damage to the first 2 enemies, +2 per tempering level. Then create 2 red gems for each red ally and enemy. If the enemy has a doom, gain a random status effect. So in an all red team versus an all red team, this is going to be a pretty crazy red loopy weapon. Very, very effective indeed. But it is the weapon for the Tower of Doom. So don't craft it from here. Craft it from the Tower of Doom shop and pick it up that way, because it's much, much, much better value that way, he says, stumbling over his words. Anyway, yeah, don't get it from here. Let's say quite a lot of diamonds. Grab it from the Tower of Doom shop. Right, onto the troops. If you're a new player, then have a little scan through all these troops here. See if there's anybody you're missing. And if you are, then absolutely roll the dice. Grab a few summoning stones. See if you manage to pick up any of the troops that you're missing. Some good ones in here sometimes. It's like Tuliao, one of the most underrated mana generators in the game. Choose a colour. She's gone under the radar forever. I think I'm going to do an underrated troops video soon. And she would be definitely in there somewhere. Choose a colour and enchant all allies of that colour and give 6 mana to them boosted by gems of that colour at a 4:1 ratio. She uses like 13 mana. So if that colour happened to be green or yellow and you give 6 mana, she's on 6 already. And remember, she's going to enchant herself at the same time, as well as that 4:1 boost. If there was, say, 12 green on the board, she's going to get like 9 mana straight away and enchant herself. If that enchant and that mana she gave charged somebody else up, which did a good amount of damage, she's ready the round after that to do that again. That's really good. I like Tuliao. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Right, let's start with the mythics at the bottom and work our way up to the top. Again, same as the weapons, I'm not going to go over all the troops that are here all the time. They're in my Soulforge extra video. Not including Stellarix and Sitherax though, because same reason as the Wonder Stars, they came out after my Soulforge extra video was made. So who have we got first? We have Fenix. Really, really good mythic this. Choose one. Deal magic based true damage to all enemies, or summon 1 to 3 Volfire Hunters. pretty nice stat to have that option. If you've lost a couple of troops up top, then you can cast this and bring in some backup, or you can do some really good damage to all. So I do like that spell. Good traits as well. Starting battles with 25% mana. All allies gaining 2 random skill points is worth it. And bless and enchant a random ally when I match 4 or more gems is, again, a really, really nice third trait. So, yeah, Fenix. Very nice indeed. The Wild King. Wild indeed. Sometimes he works for you, sometimes he sets the enemy up. But most of the time it will work in your favour. You can look at the board and decide if it's a sensible cast or not. Enrages all allies and gives them magic +1 attack. Then creates a mix of 22 skulls and yellow gems. The cool thing about a troop like this is it's pretty good for pretty much any level player in the game. There's no magic based bonuses to this apart from how much you gain in attack. The fact that you create that huge mix of skulls and yellow gems is relevant if you're a level 1 player or if you're a level 4000 player. So very, very good for that as well. And summons a Bone Storm at the start of battle. It can make things even more aggressive. All Wild Folk allies gain 1 magic when my turn begins is pretty sweet as well. So yeah, Wild King. Very wild indeed. But just be wary of it, because when you cast it, like I say, if it goes wrong, it can actually massively set up the opposition for a hideous counter-attack. Ullor. Again, one of my favourite underrated mythics. This is one of the, when I first started making the Gems of War videos, this is actually one of the troops which was on the first mythics I had a proper look at. And I really like it then, and I still like it now. It eliminates magic +1 attack from the first 2 enemies, the same amount of magic from the last 2 enemies, and drain all the mana from the 2 strongest enemies. I mean, that's powerful anyway. This is actually very good against the book teams, those ones that generate loads of skulls and stuff like that. They go absolutely nuts and they can absolutely obliterate you. And the reason is, you're going to take away attack from the first 2 enemies, which if the enemies get to cast, they're going to have reduced attack, so it's not going to be as effective. And it's also going to drain the magic from the last 2 enemies. Those book teams are very often in one of the last 2 slots. So it's reduced their effectiveness of how much damage they do. And if they do damage and get those skull connections, the attack isn't going to be as strong as it was. And even more, Ancient Chill, if you've collected some blue gems to charge him up, which you usually would have done, you get to freeze and faeryfy a random enemy when matching blue gems as well, which often means they're not going to get an extra turn, even if they manage to get a 4 match somehow. So yeah, Ullor. Very effective mythic, but kind of strategic. It's not everyone's favourite kind of troop because it doesn't do like 1 billion damage and kill everyone in 1 turn. Anyway. And we have Voice of Orpheus. Another troop which basically started off a bit rubbish. Everyone thought he was a bit crap when he came out, and because the spell is a bit rubbish. Deal magic-based damage to an enemy boosted by all ally mana. Cleanse all allies, then give all other allies 5 mana. So yeah, the spell is non-spectacular. The cleanse is good, but he's got the cleanse as part of his traits as well. Cleanse all allies when matching yellow gems. But the cool thing about a Voice of Orpheus is he's the perfect counter to the Elementalist class. So many teams, the Elementalist class is absolutely crazy because you get that burn, stun, freeze and entangle on a 4 match. But this guy is the perfect counter to that because he's impervious, so he's immune to all status effects, Devour, Lycanthropy and Mana Burn, so those Elementalist effects have 0 effect on him. But all he has to do then, all you got to do in your team is collect some yellow and you'll cleanse off your team. So if they did get going in that Elementalist class and get that freeze and stun and entangle, etc. going on, click yellow, sort it out. Voice of Orpheus, really good for that reason. Alone, was that it? Was that 4? 1, 2, yes, 3 and 4. Right, so let's take a look at the legendaries then. Let's go over them just ever so quickly. We have King Oberon. Gives magic +3 life and 5 magic to all allies, then creates a firestorm and enchants all phase. So in a Fey team, that's pretty good. Magic boost is nice, a bit of life is good, but the main reason he's in the team most of the time will be because of that Lord of Summer. All Fey allies start with 50% mana. Nice quick start for a Fey team with that matey boy. Despond. Good troop this, I do like it. Deal damage to an enemy equal to their attack. So if somebody's got crazy attack, that's going to be really damaging, but then deal the same damage to all enemies above them and has a summon at the same time. Not too bad at all. And is impervious and drains 3 mana from a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. So yeah, Pretty cool troop is spawned. Who else do we have? We have Artemis, Exploder Row, deal damage to the 2 weakest enemies, boosted by ally centaurs. Yeah, that's it. Not bad, just not great. Gorgotha, still relevant in the game after all these years and still very useful indeed. Exploding magic +3 gems and cleanse itself. And reduce damage from skulls by 75%, makes it a very good tank in first place. Very hard to kill if you're going for a skull-based team on that. Gorgotha, still absolutely a really good troop. But who gets my Mythic of the Week? Voice of Orpheus, very much improved since Elementalist class came along. Ullor, very good, but against certain teams, really. The Wild King, very aggressive, can go wrong, but only if you're really unlucky. And, oh, I went past someone. Oh yeah, and Fenix. Nice damage to all, and that summon and that nice Phoenix's blessing. But I have to give it to the Wild King. In a nice skull-based team, the Wild King is the key to it all. You can absolutely go absolutely ballistic with him, have a load of fun with some crazy skulls, get really good attack for all your team. Very nice Mythic indeed. The Wild King is my Mythic of the Week. I'll be back later on with my Tower of Doom team. I'll be showing you that and my Underspire team and a quick guide to the Kingdom Pass at the same time. It's Manic Monday, it's all going on. But anyway, there it is. If you enjoyed this video, it'd be really cool if you bash that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching. Catch you again next time. Bye for now.